The story of animation versus Minecraft is about to get deep. This video that you're watching is a part 2. If you haven't seen the first part, I highly recommend checking it out first. And in that video, we left off with episode 20. So let's hop into episode 21. At the start, we see the second coming imposter and Blue enter a swamp. And then... the rest of the color gang find the portal, enter, and see Blue. They celebrate and start heading back through the portal, but Blue stops Red. The others are confused, and one by one they re-enter the portal, only for them to keep disappearing. Finally, the second coming enters the portal and sees Blue, but he knows that something is wrong. He starts fighting Blue, and he soon realizes that it's a witch, and then the witch escapes. But the pig has a scent, and they continue to search. We then see a group of llamas, but then one of them starts acting strange. With some clues, the second coming soon figures out that the llama is actually yellow. The second coming wants some more proof, and Yellow, being the redstone master that he is, creates a contraption, fully confirming that yeah, it's him. We then see a salmon acting strange, jumping out of the water multiple times, but then the pig sniffs him, and we eventually learn that this is Red. And then next we see a zombie whom we quickly learn is green. But then... yeah, it's actually the witch who attacks. The gang fights back, including Yellow and Red, and after some battle, she escapes through a portal with the pig. The rest are sad, but then a sugarcane starts to move. Yes, this is the actual Green, and he proves himself by playing a note block since he's good at music. We then cut to Blue, who seems to be in this void place. There's also Netherwort, which keeps appearing, but when Blue tries to gather some, he can't. And we then realize what's actually happening. Blue has been turned into a piston that's been implemented into another warp farm, and we also see the pig captured. The rest of the gang finally find their way to the witch's hut and now have to battle the witch, but it won't be easy with her potions. An intense fight commences, and TNT even blows up part of her hut. This actually wakes up Blue in a sense, and he starts moving around. Blue searches around the hut, but the witch is coming. The pig warns him, and Blue escapes into the water below, where he finds some materials. He pushes them through the water and starts making some potions of his own. Meanwhile, the gang is still battling the witch, but she eventually turns them all into blocks until... yup, Blue made potions to return them back to normal, but the witch gets some blocks of her own on her side, ready to throw some more potions at them. A legendary battle breaks out, with the gang switching between their normal selves and Minecraft blocks and mobs. It's crazy. Eventually, there are two witches, so Red goes off to get some more potions to show which is the real one, but the real witch escapes and attacks Red. Blue then knocks the witch onto the roof, and they start turning each other into different mobs to fight, but Blue eventually runs out of his potions, and the witch turns everyone into dye. But just as she's about to burn them, the pig drinks the potions and gains tons of effects. Now it's a battle between the witch and the heroic pig, and the witch is simply no match for his power. The pig won the fight and helps everyone turn back to normal. Just as they are leaving to go home once and for all, they run into Purple. Purple is excited to meet them and wants to show them stuff through a portal. But the second coming, remembering the chaos the last time they travel around through portals, simply wants to go home and convinces the others. Purple sees this and is sad, and the rest change their mind and decide to ignore the second coming's warnings, and they go with Purple, and the second coming reluctantly follows. In episode 22, Purple has given them a parkour course. He then starts parkouring through it and makes it to the other side. Red gives it a go and completes it first try. Then it's Yellow's turn, but he misses. However, he is TP'd back to the start. Then the rest parkour and make it to the end. They even touch this beacon, which teleports them to another course, but now it's timed. Red starts parkouring, and eventually he makes it to the end along with the others. But it wasn't just timed, it was a race, and Red got a point. Purple then reveals that it's a first to 3, and so the races commence. And after a bunch of parkouring with various of the color gang winning, they are all tied up and need one more to win. Purple then places a purple stained glass on the beacon, and they TP to the final parkour course. And this time, Purple makes them start one by one. As they travel through the challenge, they get to a part that changes for each person, sending them down different paths. Red then touches the beacon, and the scoreboard shows that he won, and a piglin brute gives him a trophy. Green is still traveling through the course and sees Purple flying past him with the pig. Green then makes it to the end himself, and it shows that he won. Each of the stick gang are TP'd to a different area, with the board claiming that they won. But we cut to this shot of Purple leaving the parkour area, flying through the nether. Back to the stick gang, they soon realize that they are not allowed to leave. Back to Purple, he gives the pig to a brute and enters the bastion. And this is when we finally see King Orange, who Purple is serving. And we see that capturing the stick gang was all part of their plan. King Orange then starts to show off more of the plan. Cutting back, the second second coming uses the teleporting trick to get around the piglin brute and escapes. He is TP'd to another course, which he completes, and then he's TP'd to another, and then another and another, and he keeps fleeing. And the others also figure out ways to pass the brute, and they are all escaping through the parkour courses. Green then remembers Purple leaving and starts to build up, eventually hitting a ceiling which he mines through, escaping into the nether. He sees the bastion in the distance and uses his fishing rod to make his way there. He sneaks inside and sees King Orange's plan. King Orange is going to have Purple go to Alan's PC, grab the Minecraft logo, which gives the holder power and creative mode, and then return it to him, so that King Orange can place it in his staff and gain its power. Green is rightfully startled. Just then, a piglin brute shows Green escaping, and King Orange does not take this well. King Orange then sends off an army of brutes and Purple as well, but just as Purple tries to leave, Green drags him down, and Green is having none of Purple's excuses, leading to a battle between the two. That is, until King Orange stops Green. Back to the second coming, he picks up a beacon and TPs the brute off the cliff. He then makes his way to the other side and puts the beacon into another, which causes him to TP around through a bunch of the courses till he meets up with Red. Cutting to Yellow, we see him fall and finally see what's been TPing him back. Yep, it's a repeating command block. Yellow makes his way to the block and removes the command on the inside. He jumps off and bumps into Blue. Red in the second coming, meanwhile, put the two beacons into another, which causes this crazy glitch effect, ending them up in the desert. Blue and Yellow are still disabling commands and eventually make their way into the nether. They get chased and flee through a portal. Finally, we see that Green has been thrown into jail, with King Orange placing this electrifying effect on the cell, preventing Green from mining out. The episode finally ends with Green and the heroic pig stuck in prison. In episode 23, we see what happened to Yellow and Blue. They end up in the plains biome, quickly closing off the portal. They then think of how to reunite with their friends, and Yellow comes up with a plan to make another portal in a different spot, which they do, but upon re-entering the nether, they are chased back out. They then decide to place a portal in another spot, but upon peeking through, the gang has no luck once again. Suddenly, a villager comes onto the screen needing help. Blue and Yellow follow to see crops destroyed. They then travel to another part of the village to see animals killed. They hear a thud and travel back to the first part of the town and see houses destroyed. And after a second thud, Yellow and Blue take out their swords. They travel back and see villagers being thrown around. And we finally get to see what's causing all this chaos, a titaned Ravager. Blue and Yellow try their best to take down the beast, but it is simply too powerful. The Ravager then starts breaking into a house, and that's when Yellow figures out that it is just hungry. Yellow lures the monster away from the village while Blue starts making more crops. Yellow then runs out of food, and after making his way back, Blue has a lot more potatoes ready. They give it a chest full of food while Yellow and Blue make a crop machine. The Ravager finishes the food just as Yellow and Blue finish the machine. They start it up and fire potatoes into the Ravager's mouth. The beast then gets tired of eating potatoes, so they switch to carrots to keep it satisfied. The villagers also join in and help, adding more food to the menu and keeping the beast at bay. The Ravager then gets full and leaves, so Yellow, Blue, and the villagers celebrate. But it's cut short as the Ravager brings two more into the scene. Unfortunately, the machine can only feed one at a time, so one of them starts attacking the villagers before it's King Orange. The village celebrates. The king then sees Yellow and Blue and invites them to come with him. Blue is hesitant, but Yellow agrees. He makes another portal and they all enter. In episode 24, we see the second coming and Red walking through the forest when Red brings up how hungry he is. The second coming is also hungry and calls Red a crybaby for this. Red fights back, saying that they will die if they continue walking forever, but the second coming brings up how if they didn't follow Purple through the portal in the first place, that they would be happy at Alan's PC right now. They keep going back and forth, becoming more and more angry as their argument goes on, until the second coming shoves Red, which starts a battle between the two. The war rages on as the sun goes down and mobs start to spawn, but these mobs don't stop their fight as they kill the enemies while still battling each other. Eventually they get cornered at an azalea tree when the ground opens up and they fall through. They continue to fight as they fall through this cave system, eventually landing on a minecart, which eventually throws them into a body of water. They keep battling as they swim, eventually making their way out and onto a mine shaft when they finally stop and view the cave around them, seeing just how beautiful it is. The second coming then comforts Red and gives him a glowberry to eat. But then we see a Minecraft player. He spots the gang and starts to shoot at them. yeah, the arrows aren't really effective. We then see the player's computer screen behind the player, which the second coming and Red jump through, making their way onto Alex Crafter's PC. They then travel to the mail app and then message themselves to Alan's PC. The message shows up and they break out, finally making it back. But just then, Purple travels into the scene and realizes that he's not alone. In episode 25, we see Green trying to escape his cell. He tries multiple things and eventually pushes an ender pearl out with a piston, and that gets him out. He then breaks out the heroic pig and they start their journey escaping. We then cut back to Alan's PC with Purple trying to act nonchalant, but he gets worried when he can't find the Minecraft logo. The second coming and Red then bring it up, but looks suspicious of Purple. We then cut over to King Orange, who has led Blue and Yellow to his palace. Back over to the PC, Purple is very much trying to grab the logo without looking suspicious. But then he puts the elytra on. And back to King and Orange, he gives the gang crowns. Yellow happily accepts, but Blue, who was once fooled before, is hesitant. That is until King Orange shows Blue his throne, which is surrounded by netherwort, when he finally accepts the deal. We then see Green and the pig traveling across the bastion, and he makes his way to Blue and Yellow, but the king blocks him off. Green tries mining through, but King Orange stops him, and that's when Green decides enough is enough and blows a hole up into the wall, finally making his way through, and he explains to Blue and Yellow that King Orange is bad. King Orange stretches, fixes the hole, raises the ceiling, and creates cages for the gang to be trapped in, and they lunge into battle. A legendary battle commences, cutting back between the second coming and Red fighting Purple, and also King Orange fighting Blue, Green, and Yellow, and it is intense. Eventually, Yellow, Blue, and Green finally get King Orange's staff away from him. However, Purple manages to grab the Minecraft logo and escape through the portal, and because it has left Alan's PC, it starts removing everything Minecraft from his computer. And this also removes all of their hotbars, which King Orange uses to his advantage, grabbing the staff and then trapping Green, Yellow, and Blue. Purple escapes from Red, but thankfully the baby piglin gives him a lift. Back at Alan's PC, the second coming comes up with a plan. He sends himself to Alex Crafter's PC. He breaks for the message, grabs the Minecraft logo there, and sends himself back to Alan's PC, now with creative mode. So he creates a portal and travels through. Red then catches up to Purple and lunges for the logo, but it's too late. He's thrown into prison, and Purple gives King Orange the logo. Purple tries to hold the staff with King Orange, but is knocked away. King Orange then uses the staff to create this black hole thing, when suddenly the second coming makes his way into the battle. He frees the rest and gives them resources before being shoved back into war with King Orange, and their battle is insane. Purple, still loyal to King Orange, gets an army of piglin brutes ready. Meanwhile, King Orange and the second coming are still intensely fighting. King Orange starts shooting a bunch of fireballs, and the second coming leads them away, making 2 nether portals. They continue to fight, and we see the war below as well. Eventually, the gang pulls Purple down with fishing rods, and when Purple asks for help from King Orange, he does not care. Purple then throws off his elytra and flees, and Green chases after him, and they go through a portal. Meanwhile, the black hole is getting bigger and starts pulling the gang towards it. Yellow grabs Blue, but Red is pulled into a portal, leading here. Blue and Yellow make their way down to the quartz area. Yellow grabs the command block that the king previously had in his staff, and they escape. The second coming and King Orange are ferociously battling when they go into the black hole, and the second coming is thrown into a cave system, falling all the way down to deep slate. In episode 26, we see the second coming check out a skulk sensor and how it picks up noise. He stops getting distracted and plans to build out, but then realizes his hotbar is gone. So he tries climbing out, but it's not very successful. He tries over and over again, but it's not working. He then sits down, which sets off the sensor again. The second coming is at his limit, so he breaks the skulk sensor, but this attracts a warden who roars at him and starts chasing him. They run through an ancient city, and the second coming manages to lose the warden. He starts his escape, but the warden emerges from the ground. The warden, however, is blind, so the second coming starts backing up, but accidentally sets off a skulk streaker. The chase continues, but the second coming hides in a room, escaping from the warden once again. The second coming sees a chest, and because he needs resources, he searches it, but it makes noise. So he quickly escapes and throws a candle, which leads the warden away. He then finds some resources, but the chase continues. The second coming then escapes through a small hole, which leads to a dead end, and the warden is on his way, breaking through blocks. But then the second coming looks in the book that he gathered and quickly makes a flute, and just then the warden reaches him, but the second coming plays a song, which he learned from the book. This reminds the warden of when the ancient city wasn't so ancient, and this brings the warden to the second coming side. The second coming then uses song to explain to the warden that they need to take down King Orange, so he hops on the warden's back and they start to escape, traveling back up the cave and into the nether. We then see King Orange get back up and start searching for the Minecraft logo, but just then the second coming and the warden arrive. They then start to battle, and eventually King Orange places a gold block in in his staff, which seems to give him extra power. But then the Warden grabs the staff out of his hand and knocks him away. But King Orange lands right next to the Minecraft logo. The episode ends with the second coming holding the staff and King Orange in creative mode. In episode 27, we see Red fall into monster school. There he sees a bunch of mobs that don't try to murder him instantly. Then the school bell rings and they all make their way to class with Herobrine as the teacher. Herobrine then sees Red and is confused by him but sends him to class too. Their first lesson is sneaking. Herobrine TPs them to this area right here and he creates a Steve for the lesson. The zombie tries sneaking up at him at first, but Steve hears him and kills the zombie, which brings him back to the group. One after the other, the mobs try sneaking up at him. Some are successful while others fail miserably. Then it's Red's turn, but a spider makes him trip and Red falls. They are then TP'd back to the classroom and are given grades, and Red gets an F. What follows is a short montage of Herobrine giving lessons and Red being sabotaged in each one, leading to him failing them all. Now it's time for the final exam, a team race. They're all TP'd to the starting line, and yeah, Red's teammates aren't so pleased to be teamed with him. Anyways, the teams must race along this course right here to the top of this mountain while avoiding various different Steves that Herobrine has created. The race commences, but Red doesn't really follow and instead makes his way to the top of the school to hopefully reach the portal, but it's simply too high. Meanwhile, his teammates are getting destroyed. That's when Yellow swoops back into play to help them. In each segment of the race, Yellow helps his teammates get past them. Eventually, all four of them are traveling past the other teams while fighting, but then Red gets taken down and starts getting beat up. His teammates, who at first hated him, ignore this at first, but then decide to swoop in and help. After some battling, Red and his team make their way to the top and win the race. Then we see Red explain his predicament to his team, so the team help Red reach the portal and they all travel through. Meanwhile, we see the end of the previous episode. The second coming and the Warden battle King Orange, but eventually they get trapped. And just before King Orange can put the Minecraft logo in his staff, the spider snatches it away and it's given to Red. Red and his team battle King Orange and the Enderman frees the second coming and the Warden, and now everyone is battling King Orange. Eventually, Red takes out the gold block from the staff and places another block in it instead, giving him more power, which helps him knock King Orange out of the scene. But their celebration is cut short because King Orange is not defeated so easily. He has found the other Minecraft logo. Now it's time for episode 28. At the start, we see Blue and Yellow travel to the village that we saw in episode 23, but the village is being raided by pillagers. The villagers, along with Blue and Yellow, are thrown into a cell inside the mountain. Yellow then shows the command block to the villagers, and 3 villagers step forward and start taking him somewhere. Blue, meanwhile, has the villagers gather and spread out their resources. They are hard at work. Yellow gives the command block to a blacksmith villager who looks at the command block and then makes a staff for it. Cutting back to Blue, he gives some of the villagers some weapons and trains them. Meanwhile, one of the villagers is enchanting the staff and then gives it to Yellow. Yellow comes back to the main group and gives the 3 village fighters some effects, and off they go. They battle the pillagers while Yellow sneaks off to a cave. There we see the Titan Ravager, who upon seeing the staff is reminded of King Orange killing the other 2 Ravagers. The Titan is scared, but Yellow gives it some food and then explains that King Orange is the killer and that Yellow wants to team up to fight him, and the Ravager agrees. Meanwhile, the rest are not doing so hot, but the Titan Ravager comes into play and scares the pillagers off. The village celebrates. Yellow, Blue, and the Titan Ravager then leave through the nether portal. Back to the end of the last episode, King Orange now has both Minecraft logos. He uses one to create stuff and control it, and the other logo to create these evil mobs. They have a short battle with King Orange grabbing the staff, but just then the Titan crashes into frame. It's now King Orange and his evil mobs versus the rest. Their battle goes back and forth, but eventually King Orange gets the staff while the rest are still battling. King Orange then merges both Minecraft logos and places them into his staff, giving him unlimited power. Quick pause: if you're enjoying the show, please consider subscribing as it motivates me to continue making content. We then get to episode 29, which shows where Green went, and we see that he followed Purple into this very wacky note block universe where mobs can fly and Green tries to ask them where Purple went, but they don't get it. Green then communicates through music and they understand him. He asks the animals where's Purple and they show him through note blocks where he went. Green is now off on his journey, grabbing a note block to use when needed. He makes his way into a cave and sees some zombies, but their tone of music is slightly different and Green can't really communicate well. After a lever is placed on the note block, Green finds the right sound and asks where Purple went. The zombies tell him and off they go. He then runs into some villagers who also have different music language. Green then figures figures out how to make their sound and starts to communicate. He eventually asks where Purple went, and the villagers answer. So off Green goes for the third time. He makes his way to a red desert with a wandering trader that is trying his best to trade with him. It's not really working. And then Green finally sees Purple. Purple flees, but Green chases after him. Using notes, Green tries to get Purple to stop by literally making a stop sign, but Purple ignores. Green chases and asks why Purple captured him and his friends, but Purple dismisses it. Still continuing to chase him, Green asks why Purple left him and Blue to fall all the way back in episode 10, but again, Purple brushes it away. Green then asks Purple if he is good or bad, but in a fit of rage, Purple screams in notes, as he once again does not want to answer. They finally slow down and stop at the top of a mountain, and Purple then reveals to Green his backstory, showing his parents, Pink and Dark Blue. Purple's father wanted to train Purple how to fight, but was always a little too rough. And eventually, Purple's mother told him that he was being too harsh. And because of this, the father left the family. And shortly after, Purple's mother passed away. But Purple still wanted to make his father proud. And we then see through a 3D segment how much Purple tried to accomplish this. But in the end, he was still never good enough. But then at the top, we see King Orange. Purple makes his way through the towers, throwing everyone else behind him, committing crimes just to maybe impress King Orange. Maybe he couldn't make his father proud, but King Orange, who became Purple's father figure, maybe he could impress him instead. But in the end, King Orange betrays Purple, only using him to get what he wanted, leaving Purple all alone. Purple admits to Green that he now sees himself as evil, but Green gives the Elytra back to Purple and tells him that people aren't purely good or purely evil, and that they can still be friends. And so, Green and Purple hug and are now off to find King Orange. They fly off the mountain back to the Nether portal, and we see King Orange with both Minecraft logos in his staff, as he now has an unfathomable amount of power. But then Purple punches him, grabbing the staff. And now we get to episode 30. In this episode, we see King Orange in the Outernet, reminiscing about his son Gold. Just then, we see an older Gold come into frame, handing his father a corn dog. They have a little battle before heading off to a local town. After looking around, Gold sees Minecraft and becomes fascinated by it. He brings his father over to the stand, has him sign a waiver, and off they go. We see this giant Minecraft grass block with a hallway attached to it. And we also see some people, called the developers, at a control stand. Gold enters the hallway and the workers initiate the mechanism, and Gold is then warped into Minecraft. King Orange sees his son in Minecraft on a screen, and Gold starts doing the typical Minecraft stuff, gathering resources and crafting. But suddenly, a fatal error occurs. The workers try to shut the machine down, but to no avail. And suddenly, the world starts glitching out, but with some quick thinking, Gold exits the game, which lets him exit through the portal. Gold is now in the hallway, and his father is trying to free his son. Gold, meanwhile, is glitching out and is trying his best to escape. The workers cannot shut the machine down, and they also cannot open the door. They try harder and harder until the glitchiness fully consumes Gold. King Orange starts to let all of his anger out on the developers. Cutting to King Orange's house, we see him throwing knives at a Minecraft poster, absolutely enraged with the game. He starts punching it, banging at the wall, just like when he was trying to save his son. Eventually, he opens a Minecraft wiki book and starts studying the game, hoping to use his resources against itself so that he can kill it. We then see him come up with the idea of a staff that uses a block for power, which he soon decides that a command block is the best bet. He then secretly trades with someone else and gets his hand on the command block. He makes the staff, adds the block, and nothing. King Orange doesn't give up and creates more and more staffs until he finally makes the staff we all know. But instead of making a vortex like he wanted, it just creates a cobblestone block. He then turns to another book, Minecraft Mysteries, and after some searching, he finds the Minecraft game icon, which is said to be the most powerful item in Minecraft. But the location is unknown, so he starts asking around the town, but no one knows where it might be. But then King Orange stumbles to where a TV is and sees episode original of Animation vs. Minecraft being played, and he sees the color gang with the Minecraft logo. He then starts posting wanted pictures of the stick gang around the Outernet, and later we see Purple take one. Purple knocks on the door and shows King Orange a few tricks, leading to King Orange letting him in. King Orange brings Purple down to his basement, where we see this room right here. King Orange then opens up another portal and makes his way into Minecraft, where he interrogates some piglins into becoming his servants. Purple then gives King Orange a crown, and then we finally cut back to present day, where Purple punches King Orange and takes the staff. King Orange falls to the ground and Purple destroys most of the evil mobs. Now everyone is trying their best to keep King Orange away from the staff. Eventually they are successful and Purple is now trying to stop the black hole but cannot figure the staff out. The time Ravager kills the last evil mob and then goes to stomp on King Orange. Yellow stops it, but while he's distracted, King Orange uses the opportunity and snatches Yellow's staff and starts battling. He makes his way to Purple and takes the staff from him. A war breaks out and King Orange even creates this giant beast creature to aid in his fight. But amidst the chaos, Herobrine shows up to the scene. The skeleton shows him the war and that's when Herobrine himself challenges King Orange. A battle commences with Herobrine dodging a bunch of attacks. As he fights King Orange, the beast interrupts, but Herobrine quickly takes care of it by throwing Steves at it, killing it. Herobrine continues to fight King Orange and it's neck and neck. King Orange is eventually knocked down with all the Steves shooting at him, but King Orange will not go down so easily. The Steve army fights King Orange and gives it their all, eventually knocking him to the left when the Steve gets sucked into King Orange's staff. King Orange uses this ability to his advantage, getting rid of all the Steves, making his way to Herobrine himself. He then starts sucking him into the staff too, but Herobrine escapes into red and starts controlling him just like in episode OG, even making a giant obsidian stick figure to continue the battle. But King Orange sucks the Titan Ravager into his staff, and after some more battling, he even gets Herobrine. King Orange continues to remove his enemies before finally doing this. King Orange is making the black hole stronger than ever to kill Minecraft once and for all. It even makes its way through other portals, destroying distant lands as well. The Color Gang then give it their all and battle King Orange to stop his chaos, but King Orange is too powerful and throws them away. But the Stick Gang will not give up and continue to fight him, but again, King Orange is simply too strong and throws them back away. Purple, however, gets back up and challenges King Orange himself. King Orange shoots the beam at Purple, but Purple still stands his ground, continuing to walk towards the king. King Orange then gets a flashback, but shakes it away. But as he looks at Purple, he sees his son the night he died. King Orange continues to start seeing the similarities between his son and Purple. Meanwhile, Purple is still fighting his best against the beam when it finally becomes too much, taking him away. King Orange breaks and goes after Purple, leaving the staff. King Orange is chasing Purple when he eventually jumps into the beam itself and gets sucked away into the black hole along with Purple. Meanwhile, the Color Gang grabs the staff and tries to stop it, but to no avail. Eventually, the Second Coming remembers how things revert after the logo is brought through a portal. So the Second Coming takes the staff and makes his way to the first portal, as the others have been destroyed. They race through the nether as it is being torn apart, eventually finding the Piglin tribe, which helps them race through the nether. As they continue, they are being pulled apart until it's just the Stick Gang. They reach where the portal is and help each other get to it as the world is being destroyed around them. We then see King Orange in this void walking to his house. Once he's inside, he sees a drawing on the wall and sees him and his son. We then see a Minecraft block consume his son and King Orange becomes enraged. King Orange starts beating the block up, which also affects the mobs and the Color Gang. Amongst the chaos, we also see Gold, but the King Orange drawing grabs Gold and starts beating him up as well. The real King Orange wants it to stop, but it doesn't, and we see Gold eventually turn into Purple. King Orange starts hitting the wall and eventually breaks through where he sees the real Purple, and so King Orange runs to him. Cutting to Alan's PC, we see the Second Coming has actually made his way through the portal with the staff and the Minecraft logos. And this starts to revert everything, putting the entire Minecraft world back together, even bringing everyone back. And the Minecraft icons finally separate. The Second Coming jumps back into the nether and Purple and King Orange get back up. Purple confronts them and the pig confronts him too, sniffs him and jumps in positivity. The Second Coming then confronts King Orange, who takes off his crown, bowing to the Second Coming. The Second Coming then shakes his hand and King Orange gives Purple his crown. King Orange then puts a command block into the staff and brings back the other Titan Ravagers, and then gives Yellow the staff. We then see various of the mobs reunite with some of the stick figures, and we then see Purple give the crown to the heroic pig, and everyone embraces Purple. King Orange starts walking away, but Purple stops him. They shake hands, and King Orange then leads Purple away, and off they go. And the Color Gang make their way back to Alan's PC. The Second Coming gives one of the logos to Red, and he emails himself back to Alex's PC. The Second Coming then places the logo back on Alan's PC, while Red places the other one back on the other PC. And the episode finally comes to a conclusion with the Stick Gang having a small party, with King Orange and Purple sitting on a fence during the credits. In episode 31, we see that Yellow has created a giant Minecraft racetrack for the others to, well, race on. The contestants gather the resources, get into position, and off they go. And they start using shovels to gain some speed. The Second Coming then uses extra minecarts, but Green tries to stop him, and then also Red, but then Blue has taken the lead. They then enter a water section where Green speeds by, and they all eventually make it back onto a dry track. They then start to battle while racing on the track, but Yellow interrupts them, telling them that the path splits ahead. The Second Coming and Green go up while Red and Blue travel down. The Second Coming and Green start hopping from track to track, eventually leading to Green having to run along some drip leaf while the Second Coming swings above. Meanwhile, in the icy cave below, Blue and Red ditch their slow minecarts to travel on the ice with boats. Because let's be honest, minecarts are just way too slow. They are just way... The Second Coming and Green eventually make it to a new section where they have to hop between different tracks. And cutting back to the others, Red spawns a horse and starts riding it at top speed. So Blue decides to drink some swiftness potions to catch back up. Eventually, they all run into each other again and start falling. And Red starts catching the others in midair with a chicken and a lead. Red then lands into the nether, but the others are not far behind. All of them are now neck and neck, battling each other with all of their resources, getting closer and closer to the finish line. And the end is now in sight, and they all reach the end at the exact same time. All of them are claiming that they're the victor. And they even fight over the trophy, but Yellow says that they all won. But yeah, they kind of disagree with that. In episode 32, the gang is sick of Minecraft food, but then they see Blue with ramen noodles. They desperately want some, so Blue makes some for them. And this episode is very much an ASMR episode at some points. Anyways, the gang slurps down their meal. We then see Green grab the paper, kind of asking about it. Blue explains that he found said paper while he was in the prison during episode 28. So the gang decide to find the chef and thus find the full book. They look around and are told that the house is right here. The chef opens the door, brings them in, and shows them the master cookbook. But getting it won't be so easy, as they have to trade to get it through 3 different trades. The Cutler gang, not wanting to do this, tries to steal the book, which leads to an epic battle between them and the chef, but they ultimately lose. And so they give in and start making the first trade, pancakes. They quickly teach themselves how to make it as Blue writes all this information down. They add some syrup, confront the villager chef, and he accepts their food. He then trades them some tomato seeds so that they can make some pizza. And the gang does so, and they are hard at work, figuring out how to make pizza, creating the sauce, the bread, the cheese, and the other toppings. After a quick bake in the oven, they give the pizza to the chef, who accepts it and gives them all buckets of oil, which the gang uses to start making the last 3 meals for the chef. Everything is going great at first. Things are being fried, the burger is being made, but then Green drops the last donut, which leads to the outside kitchen catching on fire. They quickly put it out, but they didn't fully complete all 3 meals. They try and pass it off to the chef, but he notices that only 2 of the 3 donuts are actually edible. The gang beg him for the book, but he kicks them out. The gang wait at the door through the night, and when the chef comes out the next morning, he kind of feels bad for them. So he gives them 3 maps and tells them to go to different locations to gather a bunch of different food, and only then will he give them the master cookbook. So off the gang goes, traveling to different regions, asking the villagers how to make the food, and then, well, learning how to make said food. They travel back to the village with their materials and start creating everything. Once they finally finish, the chef goes through the list of food, marking them off one by one until finally it is all finished. The chef gives Blue the cookbook, but upon opening it, he realizes it's empty. The chef tells them that they have learned how to make all their foods this whole time, and that they now have the master cookbook for themselves. Blue places all the notes into the book cover and bows to the chef. At the start of episode 33, we see the gang start experimenting around with the staff, placing different blocks into it, which allows them to do different things. They then think about adding a lucky block, but remembering what happened in episode 19, they decide not to. They continue to mess around with the staff, trying more and more stuff out, and they finally finish their fun, but Red wants to try out the lucky block. So while Yellow is sleeping, he snatches the staff from him, adds a block to the staff, and starts messing around with it. He then experiments with a dirt block, causing a lucky block icon in the lucky dimension Dimension to kind of freak out and replace the dirt block with a melon. After some more messing around, Red realizes that the lucky block can kind of shift through other blocks. This kind of causes the Lucky Dimension to freak out a bit, and Red tries out this new feature. Eventually, the Creeper Bee, aka the beeper, which was made earlier when they were all experimenting, comes into play ready to explode, which causes Red to panic, running away, leaving the staff on the ground. Meanwhile, in the Lucky Dimension, the orb is creating stuff when it sees an electrified Lucky icon. So it starts to gather some icons, finally making itself into one and teleporting itself into the staff. Red finally managed to keep the beeper happy with a patch of flowers, but upon reuniting with the staff, he notices it isn't really working. He bangs it around, causing an explosion, which wakes up Green, and the orb is finally revealed. The orb then starts moving around with random blocks and then shoots a block at Red, but Green jumps in and saves him. This redirects the block, which hits the house, finally waking up the rest of the stick gang. Now they're all fighting the orb, and Blue, using a swiftness potion, punches the staff out, but it gets back up again. It tries to crush the gang with a hammer, but Yellow blocks it with barrier blocks from a command block, and then captures the orb. But the orb then opens up the lucky block and sucks everyone into the Lucky Dimension. The orb, now with the staff, goes back to its little monument and starts raising it far into the sky. It even starts making its own minions. Meanwhile, the stick gang and the beeper make their way to the mountain, mine inside, and battle some of the enemies, even getting a staff. They use this to summon the ghast and start their ascent. They continue to have many battles while on the rise, even collecting more staffs. And there is a lot that happens. From a mini boss fight with a bee queen, to the bees attacking the ghast, prompting the second coming to protect it with a helmet, to Red gathering the bees, including Beeper, into a bee nest, to Red getting a Herobrine staff, to some more epic battles, even fighting a boat at one point. Eventually, they finally reach the top and the camera zooms out, showing what this place has become. They mine in and see their final boss, the Lucky Block staff controlled by the orb. And so their battle begins as they try and stop it, with the orb defending itself using other staffs. The gang start to destroy and stop some of the staffs, but the orb knocks down the second coming, steals his bedrock staff, and captures him. The rest are also getting captured, and just as Red is about to meet a similar fate, barrier blocks stop the orb. It's Yellow, and he starts to battle the orb. He even makes it pretty far, but with some quick thinking, the orb uses a quartz staff to snag Yellow away, taking the barrier block staff for itself. But Red still hasn't been captured yet, and he comes up with a plan. He uses a fishing rod and grabs the end frame staff. Using it, he makes some portals, and just before he is fully captured, he throws the bee nest into a portal, which launches it to where the orb is, releasing the bees. The beeper then looks to Red, who nods, and the beeper explodes, finally stopping the orb once and for all. And as the place falls apart, they open the lucky block, grab the staff, and escape. Red then creates a grave for Beeper, but then he is put in timeout for his reckless actions. In episode 34, we see Red prank a bunch of the color gang, always managing to end up with the victim with a face full of cake. Red goes to prank Green and celebrates some victory, but realizes that Green did not get pranked. Now the rest of the episode is Red trying his hardest to prank Green, but it is not going well. This even leads to a full-on segment where Red is just trying to throw cake in Green's face, but at the end, it does not work. So that's when Green starts ranting about his troubles to Purple, asking for help. Purple gets an idea and explains, and Red is filled with excitement. We then see Red bringing Green somewhere, and Green is suspicious of Red and keeps getting scared, thinking he is about to get pranked, but he isn't. Meanwhile, as this is happening, Red is giving animals and some blocks some potions. We finally get to the picnic spot, and after a quick meal, Red calls the animals and blocks, which start shooting their ingredients together, forming a giant cake. It then comes crashing down, which Green narrowly avoids. He then starts to leave, but in episode 35, it opens with Green leading a concert to an audience of mobs. He starts singing and eventually opens the stage, revealing villagers in the gang being part of the show. As Green plays some music, the camera pans to a silverfish who wants to join on stage. The silverfish starts playing along as well. This leads to Green and the silverfish having a little battle as the music is being played. And this turns into a full-on Tom and Jerry episode. Green grabs his staff to continue making music, aiding him in battle, but then the silverfish grabs the staff, and shortly after, a whole army of silverfish invades the stage. The color gang goes along with it, and Green continues to battle the silverfish. Green and the main silverfish then start having a music battle with the song Rush E playing. The battle intensifies, and silverfish above start throwing down blocks. It doesn't stop the war, however, as they are still at it. It becomes more and more chaos until a giant silverfish statue falls on Green, and the episode ends with the crowd cheering for the silverfish. In episode 36, the video starts with the stick gang having a 2v2 Bedwars battle on Alan's PC. PC that's being run with command blocks. Red even gets knocked down at one point, showing the bottom of the desktop. The war intensifies until red and yellow destroy green and blue's bed. Blue then gets knocked off and he is out for the round. Now it's just green, who is surrounded but then escapes from an ender pearl, destroys their bed, and kills red and yellow, finishing his comeback for his team. But then they see on the live stream an actual Bedwars match, so they open up Minecraft and jump into Hypixel. They walk through the lobby and join a 4v4v4 match, which starts shortly after, TPing them to their base. They gather resources and then make their way to mid, but then get destroyed by the green team, who eventually also take down yellow and blue team. Now it's a 4v4. While blue is at their base, red, yellow, and green try to destroy green's bed. They make their way to the high ground, eventually having yellow and green lead them away, while red finally destroys their bed and then gets killed. Green team then bridges over to their base and blows up their bed defense and breaks their bed. Now they are all finals and a battle ensues, but the color gang gets destroyed until it's just blue left. Blue then throws his sword and then realizes that he doesn't have to obey the laws of Minecraft. A 1v4 battle ensues with blue pulling off some crazy move. Team green tries their best, but they are no match, and blue eventually wins the war for his team. They celebrate in the Bedwars lobby, and we also see that the stick gang actually ended green team's winning streak. We then see a montage of the color gang breaking the rules of Minecraft to give themselves an advantage in Bedwars matches. There's even some 3D segments which are really cool and well animated. Popular YouTubers even start to notice, like Purpled and Gamerboy80. Even Captain Sparkles is talking about the stick figure situation. Now the gang is at a win streak of 99, so they enter one last gang, but so does their rivals that they accidentally made. And this time Team Green is not messing around, as they start enabling cheats like auto-clicking and kill aura to aid in their revenge. They quickly wipe out the other teams, and now it's a 4v4. Green jumps in for an attack but is easily killed. They will not go down so easily. So the stick figures split up and start using creative ways to get around them. Meanwhile, two players of green team destroy the stick gang's bed, but red also gets green team's bed. They all make their way to mid, and it is once again a 4v4 with all of them being finals. Meanwhile, the second coming is watching at home. I forgot to mention that he woke up during their montage and saw all the chaos. But anyways, a legendary war commences with the stick figures giving it their all against the hacking green team. They fight, and eventually one of them is killed, but green is also taken down shortly after. A war rages on, making its way to sudden death, spawning two dragons, causing them to fly into the mix. Team green kills a dragon while the color gang ride the other, which they use to kill a green teammate. Yellow then gets killed, and then red, and then another green teammate until it's a 1v1. They start to battle, and they are neck and neck, getting each other down to half a heart until a mod teleports in and bans them all from the server. And the episode ends with the heroic pig giving them a crown. That was episode 36. And while there is no episode 37, there is an episode 0. As of right now, it's the most recent Animation vs. Minecraft episode, so let's jump straight into it. At the start, we see the year 2011, showing the Chosen One and the Dark Lord spreading chaos across the internet during the Animator vs. Animation series. And eventually, they stumble their way into Minecraft. They take a look around and decide to continue their destruction, blowing things up and laying waste to the land. They smash their fists into the ground, causing an explosion. The Dark Lord then launches away, but just before the Chosen One follows, he picks up a Minecraft block. He starts to experiment around, collecting some more blocks and makes a tiny little house. The Dark Lord comes back and the Chosen One shows it off. The Dark Lord takes a look and then wants to blow it up. The Chosen One stops him at first before giving in and just letting him blow it up. The Dark Lord then flies away, ready to cause some more destruction, but accidentally bangs into a floating island, stumbling around and then falling into the nether. He stumbles around some more, falling into lava, and upon emerging, he takes a look around, seeing the new atmosphere. He then excitedly causes more chaos and destruction. Meanwhile, the Chosen One finishes his house. He then peacefully starts exploring the world of Minecraft, admiring its beauty. And after some fun, he sits down and watches the sunset. The Dark Lord then shows up and beckons him to leave. And the episode ends with the Dark Lord traveling through the portal to the rest of the internet, with the Chosen One following shortly after. And that was Animation vs. Minecraft, a series that I believe is still going. But this was a recap of what happened so far, so I hope you enjoyed. And yes, I will be making a full timeline recap in the future. And by the way, if you haven't checked it out already, I made an Animator vs. Animation recap, which is appearing on screen right here.